sick bastards. You sick ass bastards, right? I'm sure. Let's break into some space is fake stuff, right? Or it's space is fake. And we don't mean literally that it's fake, you know, Mongolians. uh, we mean that, we mean that, see how friendly I am? How friendly, we mean that, we mean that even NASA admits, in official NASA documents, it says, when calculating anything about space travel or the Earth, you must assume that the Earth is a flat, non-rotating planet. You must assume that the Earth is a flat, non-rotating planet. It says that in official NASA documents. Official NASA documents say that. I'm like, wow, why would it say that, right? That's weird. Why would you have to assume that it's flat and non-rotating? And that even Buzz Aldrin, supposedly, allegedly, one of the first guys to land on the moon, supposedly, allegedly, right? He's had many slip-ups where he says the truth. And there's like an interview where an 8-year-old girl is interviewing Buzz Aldrin. There's an interview where a little girl is interviewing Buzz Aldrin, right? And she asked, why has no one been to the moon in such a long time? And he says, Buzz Aldrin himself says, in the short version, he says, because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. In the short version, that's what Buzz Aldrin came out of his mouth and said, because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. That's what Buzz Aldrin said. I don't know. I'm just quoting Buzz Aldrin directly, you know, one of the guys that supposedly, allegedly landed on the moon or And I was watching a mainstream science channel recently, right? Like one of those Vsauce mainstream science channels. And the lady on there quoted NASA directly and said, NASA is admitting that no human being has ever actually left the Earth's atmosphere, right? And that NASA is redefining what space actually means. They're saying like, oh, space is actually like in here, like inside the Earth's atmosphere, like inside the Van Allen belt. Or those of us that are deeper into it, that we call it the firmament, right? And if you watch the movies Level with Me, The Next Level, and Level with Me, this shit breaks it down with irrefutable proof, right? Like, there's no factual proof. There's no factual proof, video or photos of the Earth from space. There's no video or photos of Earth from space. NASA admits that any photos you see of Earth from space are CGI. They're computer-generated images. There's no real photos of factual proof of Earth from space. And there's no, apparently they destroyed the fucking video also, fucking them taking off and landing on the moon supposedly. And if you watch some of that shit, it looks so fucking like ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. It looks so fake, right? If you watch Level and Level with Me, they show you what actually happens when a rocket goes up and keeps going and going without stopping. Eventually it hits a barrier. I'm crossing. Eventually, when a rocket keeps going and going up, they always hit a barrier, and the rocket drags to the side, like it looks like it's being dragged through water. Whatever it's touching looks kind of watery, plasmic-y, watery. It's being dragged through water, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting, right? That's what people believe is an impenetrable barrier. This like invisible force field that no one can get through, right? What we call the firmament, or what they call officially the Van Halen belt, right? And there's always been shit about that Van Halen belt, like they say, like, oh, it's too hard to fucking penetrate. And and then one of the not mainstream science guys, privately did launch their own rocket. It kept going up as high as possible. They attached a GoPro to it. It went high up as possible, with no edits or no cuts, no cuts or edits in the video, just recording without stopping. It kept going up and up and up, and eventually you hear like clunk, like it hit something. It stopped, and it sounded almost watery, right? It sounded almost watery. Who's that? People always like kind of say hi to me or look at me like me, right? But yeah, I'm like, wow, they showed that in one of the Level movies, right? And I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like you can hear like clunk, and it just stops, and it sounds watery, and that's what people think is the firmament, what separates the waters above, what keeps them from, So it's like there's no such thing as space travel. There's no such thing, right? If you think you're seeing a UFO, folks, it's the U.S. military. If you think you're seeing a UFO, it's the U.S. military. They have blue beam technology, highly advanced hologram projections that can project a hologram that looks like it's right in front of you, and you could reach out and touch it, right? They have super advanced holograms called blue beam. And eventually they're prepping us for a fake alien invasion. That's what they say with the next huge worldwide, false flag or shit. Hold on, let me get right. Hold on. Let me get right. Let me get back. Baby, where I come from. Those hacks, right? Led Zeppelin, that stole all their music from black blues artists that no one's ever heard about, that never became rich or famous. And I'm like, this is wrong. You better cut them a fat check, right? This is fucking unforgivable, right? They stole so many songs from like unknown artists. Yeah, that's what they say the next big false flag is going to be. Blue beam hologram projections of UFOs or aliens. And I recently, like a month ago, I was outside at night. I saw a blue beam a fake hologram projection of what they want us to believe is UFOs, like 5 or 6 bright white lights lined up vertically, right? Lined up perfectly vertically, 5 or 6 white lights, and they were moving. They were slowly moving towards me, right? Like a real smooth gliding motion towards me, right? Getting bigger and bigger and closer and closer. And eventually they just disappeared, right? And I instantly thought, like, wow, is that one of the fake holograms that they want us to believe is UFOs? And I should have recorded, but my cynical, jaded ass was just stood there making fun of it, right? Stood there making fun of it. Like, I should have recorded and been like, look at this fake shit. Don't fall for this bullshit. Look at this fake shit. Don't fall for it. If you think you're seeing a UFO, it's the U.S. military trying to prep us for a fake alien invasion. It's going to be just like, and they're saying also, or it might be the next false flag might be there's a fucking huge asteroid or meteoroid that can wipe out half the planet coming. Meanwhile, there's an impenetrable barrier that keeps anything from coming in or going out. And yeah, and this one guy said this crazy thing that just crushed on one of the Level films. I'm like, he said, if supposedly the Earth is spinning, rotating, gyrating, um, then one of NASA's satellites should be able to just zoom in and record somebody upside down in Australia, record somebody walking or doing something upside down in Australia, right? Because the satellite should just go like this and zoom in. But he's like, they'll never do that. And supposedly they tell us the Earth is doing 4 crazy ass motions at the same time, spinning, rotating, gyrating, and shooting through the cosmos at 4 retarded speeds, like ridiculous speeds, Mongolian speeds, like Chinese, like rotating at over 1,000 miles per hour, spinning at whatever 666,000 miles per hour. And it's funny how 666 is in there, right? I just found that weird, right? Like, wow, the specific number they give is 666. But and shooting through the cosmos at like 1,000,000 miles per hour or something like that, right? But we can't feel any of it. Like what they tell us, it's doing 4 retarded motions at retarded speeds, and we can't feel any of it. Well, then and how come nobody falls off, or the oceans don't fucking go flying everywhere? You know, because there's no such thing, logically and scientifically, there's no such thing as water being stuck to a ball, right? Yeah, this stuff. Hello. Yeah, there's logically and scientifically, there's no such thing as water getting stuck to the exterior of a ball and staying there. And it could be doing 4 psychotic motions, and it just stays in there. Nothing, not one drop goes flying. There's no such thing. There's no such thing, right? Just retarded. Just retarded. Yeah, what they say is, oh, it's gravity, right? That's why. The magic force of gravity, the mythical, magical force of gravity, it's the theory, officially it's the theory of gravity. It's a theory. But then people get into, like me, one of my sayings is, how come gravity holds this but not that, right? Eddie Bravo woke my mind up to this big time, right? How come gravity holds this but not that? You know, like it holds infinite, ridiculous, huge, infinite oceans, right? Stuck to a ball, but it doesn't hold a gnat from flying around and twirling, a tiny butterfly or bee from flying around and twirling. Like, is it defying gravity? Does gravity have a mind of its own? Like it knows what to hold on to and what not to hold on to? You know, it's crazy. So it's basically a theory, which makes no logical sense, right? I'm just asking questions here, right? Yeah. Everybody's really friendly today for some reason, but really friendly. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the fact that if we're supposedly doing 4 retarded motions, right? Shooting, traveling, shooting, spinning, gyrating, rotating, like psychotic speeds, and supposedly all the other solar systems and stars and planets are all doing their own thing, their own motions and rotations and all that shit. How come we see the same stars every night, the same stars, the same constellations in the same position, same distance, same size, same coordinate, same position, they never move? Like, whoa. So at the very least, we're not moving. At the very least. And why people don't fall off the ball, or why water can stay stuck to the exterior of a ball, makes no sense, right? Because why would gravity has not been proven. Has not been proven. Like, why does it hold this but not that? I came up with that saying, right? It holds this but not that. But and there's no factual proof. There's no photos of Earth from space. Any photo you find is CGI, a computer-generated image, and NASA admits that themselves. And Neil deGrasse Tyson saying that at 128,000 feet, which is like fucking, like 5 times or something. I can't do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like more than 5 times the height of most airplanes, right? You still should. Neil deGrasse Tyson says you still won't be able to see any curvature from super high up. Let me get it right. Neil, like this guy said, Neil dig ass Titan. I mean Titan. Yeah, that's weird. Some people like Eric Dubay speculate that at Mount Meru, at the real North Pole, Mount Meru or whatever, the place that they don't let nobody go, right? At one time, they speculate that lived like giants or whatever, and that they found skeletons of what would be giants, right? But that's neither here nor there, right? That's a different topic, right? And I remember one time this lady, who I'm assuming is a Freemason, right? Which is whatever, I love everybody, right? I love everybody. Well, I'm thinking back, I'm like, oh, she was probably a Freemason, right? She told me one time that she went to the North Pole and she actually saw Mount Meru, right? And at the time, I wasn't super deep into this topic, right? She's like, yeah, I saw Mount Meru at the North Pole, this magnetic force, this crazy shit. And and I was like, thinking back, I was like, she must be a Freemason because they don't let just anybody travel to the North Pole or Antarctica for some reason. You would think those would be 2 really important places, right? There's an Antarctic Treaty, which was signed sometime in the 50s, right? That no human being can travel, no independent person or human being can travel deep into Antarctica without military clearance. They just won't let you do it. I'm like, that's weird. Like, what are they hiding, right? What are they hiding? Oh, yeah, and the lady also said this one thing that always stuck with me, which is not related. She was like, very nice lady, right? Amazing. Fantastic. She was like, oh, you're very like me, right? You're very likable as a person, but, your art not so much, right? Which is, I get it, right? I take no offense. I love everybody. Like, I love when people give me honest opinions, right? I'm like, oh, I just laugh, right? I was like, oh, because I realize I'm not for everybody, right? I realize, like, my shit is different or something. I don't know. My shit is, I'm different, right? I'm different, which is why I'm probably a targeted individual, a victim of gang stalking. Look that up. Look up New Breed Global Truth, and Enoch the Freestyle Prince. Those are 2 huge YouTubers that have spoken about gang stalking and targeted individuals. And when they broke it down years ago, right, I realized this shit like years ago, like early 2018, right? When I first saw their videos, I was like, exactly what they're talking about, describing is exactly what happened to me, right? Like some weird military psyop, psychological torture, psychological operation, no touch torture, some weird MK Ultra shit, right? Some weird and organized gang stalking effort and shit like that. That's what I went through, right? Which, when it first happens, you have no idea. If you've never heard about it, you have no idea what's going on. So you could get freaked out and like feel paranoid. Uh, and Basically that shit like ruined my life. But after being put through all that trauma and psyops, I don't know. After being put through those psyops and trauma-based mind control and MK Ultra and weird ass shit and no touch torture, psychological torture, shit like that. After going through all that, I came out on the other side like a completely different person. It was like I was reborn, and out came on the other side some completely different person. Like I was like, I don't know what happened, and that I guess that was attached to a bunch of traumatic things happening back to back, right? That was attached to a bunch of traumatic things happening to me back to back, right? Which could have been not related to the gang stalking thing, right? Uh, I came out I had what people call dark nights of the soul, and I came out a completely different person, right? Like before that, I was like uber shy, uber introverted, just too shy, too introverted, afraid of everything, quiet. And then I came out like the exact opposite, right? I don't know why, right? So you could say it was for better or for worse, right? Maybe they just like they did me a favor and I came out as like a better version, right? Better version. But I don't know how I got into this topic, but this shit is always on my mind, right? But it's all good. I love everybody. I'm a very accepting, loving, forgiving person, right? Unbelievably forgiving and accepting and loving, despite all the crap, that I went through, right? And still get treated like a piece of shit, right? I still get treated like I still get Black Panther treatment and communist Cuba treatment for some reason, right? And I'm still incredibly nice and friendly and accepting and loving and forgiving. You know what I mean? That's that Jesus energy. That's that God energy. That's that Christ consciousness. That's that my pineal gland has been bursted wide open, and holy shit, right? Tremendous awakening and rebirth. What they call born again. When Jesse Lee describes born again, I'm like, dude, he's describing exactly what happened to me. It's like you can't even remember being the way that you were. You feel like completely detached from how you were before, and you couldn't even go back to being that way even if you wanted to, right? And it's like you're I don't know, you've reached Christ consciousness, right? What they call the mind of God, but my mind is going blank. Oh, I forgot to bring up one more thing about when my friend told me, like, oh, you should talk about all this wholesome, nice stuff about you, right? In front of everybody. And I'm like, why should I have, at the time, my dumb thinking was like, why should I have to do that to prove I'm a nice guy, right? To prove that I'm actually a humble, nice guy, wholesome even, even, I'm pretty clean. It's amazing, right? My dumb thinking that maybe I shouldn't have been that defensive and dumb. I should have actually done it, right? Like some kind of PR thing, right? But at the same time, I'm thinking like, man, if by now people cannot see that moi is actually a nice guy. People cannot see by now that I'm actually a nice guy and wholesome and humble and everything. If they can't see it like by now, then I'm just like, man, just fuck off, right? Just fucking. I wanted to say something worse, but let me be careful, right? Just. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just a joke. No, I don't mean it literally. But yeah, I think I'm done. Any questions? Any more savage comments like you guys always leave? I'm realizing that's the only people that like me hardcore is savages, trolls, and renegades, or a combination of all three. That's who really likes me and fucks with me, right? They just leave. Sometimes these guys just leave pure savage comments that it's almost like I can't even read this shit, right? But my new thing is no matter how fucked up or weird or savage or trolly the comment is, I'm gonna read them all out loud, just to be funny, right? Because I think it's funny to do the opposite of what's expected. Anyways, thank you and bye bye. And if I don't see you again, good afternoon, good morning, and good night. That's from the Truman Show. That's from the. Was that any good?